Hi there, and welcome to Astrology Updates with Gretchen Hidell. Thank you so much for checking out my YouTube video and my blog and website. This is going to be for the astrological week of March 24th into March 30th. This is going to be quite a busy week astrologically speaking, and it's going to start pretty early on Monday the 25th, moving into Wednesday the 26th. I don't know if you remember, but last Friday, Mars formed a conjunction with Uranus. And now Mars is going to continue on. It's going to quincunx Saturn, and then on Monday. And then on Tuesday, it's going to form a positive sextile with Jupiter and a negative square with Pluto. Now, Mars is not necessarily a warm and fuzzy planet. Mars is the nickname of Mars is the god of war. Relating back to mythology. And this can be quite aggressive energy. People might be more inclined to speed or to cut people off while they're driving, or sort of pick fights, get into arguments, things like that. It's almost too much Mars energy. I always say Mars is a little bit like if you shake up a soda, but then you can't open the lid and all of that energy is sort of percolating inside. That's what this could feel like. So I always recommend around Mars placements to get out to exercise, to be outside if possible, and to work out that aggression in a positive way, because otherwise it can cause bickering and arguing or just competitive nature. So I would definitely advise doing that. And then as the week continues, you go into Wednesday, and then we're going to be facing a full moon. The full moon this month is going to be in the sign of Libra. So the sun is in Aries, and the full moon is always in the opposite sign of whatever the sun is in. So Aries and Libra are opposite. So the full moon this time around is going to be in Libra. The height of the full moon is going to be 5:27 a.m. on Wednesday morning. So when the moon goes, it sort of crests and it builds up and builds up and builds up. The energy of that builds upwards, and then finally it starts to wane through the rest of the day. But not only is it going to be a full moon in Libra, but then the moon is going to be opposing all of these planets that just moved into Aries. So it's going to be opposing Venus and Uranus and the sun and all that stuff. This could be a little bit of an intense full moon. I mean, there are some full moons that are more powerful than others, and this one may be more powerful. Now, the biggest life lesson of Libras in general is balance. So we may be tested quite a bit with our balance, meaning, are we working too much? Are we playing too much? Are we giving too much of ourselves? Are we taking enough for ourselves? And relationships can really be stressed or strained, and not just romantic relationships, but close personal relationships could be strained during this time. Boundaries may be renegotiated. So that'll be something to look out for. And then it continues, the intensity continues on Thursday, the 28th. There is going to be a triple conjunction between the Sun, Venus, and Uranus, all three in Aries. Now, that's a lot of astrological energy. And when we're talking about the sun, we're talking about ego and the general self. When we're talking about Venus, we're talking about relationships and how we express ourselves romantically. And then Uranus is unexpected events, the great awakener, the shakeup. So certainly if you get an invitation, if you're single, to go out on that evening, that would be a great time, because you could unexpectedly meet somebody that was a little bit different, a little bit avant-garde, a little bit outside of the box. Definitely being open during this period of time is a good thing to keep in mind. Keep an open mind, see what happens. Then we move into Friday the 29th, and there's going to be 3 astrological aspects with Mercury. Mercury is going to aspect Chiron, Jupiter, and also Pluto. These are actually going to be positive aspects, and I think that it will definitely just be highlighting a lot of communication. Remember, Mercury in mythology is related to the winged messenger, so it's talking and communicating, and also it's travel. So this would probably be a good time to do those things. just keep in mind that the moon is going to start being void of course that day at 4:25 p.m. and is going to continue again, just sort of like last weekend where there's this long void of course until Saturday night. So void of course is not a great time for starting new things, but I think with all this communication, we'll be able to be okay. I think as long as we talk it out, keep our communication open, be direct, I think, we'll be good. If you're working in media, marketing, if you're doing any kind of public speaking or relating, this is a perfect time for you, for sure. Then we get into Saturday, and Saturday, the 30th, I'll be honest with you, is probably going to be the worst day of the week. The moon is going to be void of course the entire day. So again, that's not a great time for anything new. And then we're going to have Venus forming a quincunx with Saturn and the Sun forming a quincunx with Saturn. Quincunxes in astrology are not fun things. The two planets are not on the same page. They're working against one another. It's like being trapped in a room with somebody that you have absolutely nothing in common with and trying to make things work, and it just doesn't work. And that's what it's going to be like. So both the Sun, how we are generally, and Venus, how we express ourselves romantically, are going to be hitting the brakes when they meet up with Saturn, who they don't have anything in common with right now. Saturn is obstacles, delays, life lessons, and karma. So you can hear it might not be a great day for relationships in particular, or really starting anything new. I would try to avoid heavy discussions or topics around romantic relationships, because it's not an ideal time for sure for romance or any other close personal relationship. Speaking of which, includes children. So they may be a little cranky this week, especially with the full moon seems to affect children and animals, and even us adults. So I think this week is going to be intense, but as long as we use that astrological energy to its fullest and not try to go against it, I think we'll be just fine. Thank you so much for checking out my video blog entry. You can check out my website at gretchenhidell.com or my blog at astro-updates.blogspot.com. Thanks, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.